Hi, this is Will Knight, and we are back with All About Nothing. And today I spontaneously came to the DuSable Museum on the south side of Chicago to get some history, look at some art, educate myself. And I was wondering if I could speak to someone. So instead of one person coming out, I have two people coming out. So, hello there. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thanks. You know, it's funny. I am raising my children not to talk to strangers, and yet here I am on your podcast.
That's fine. There's nothing like spontaneous.
Right.
So, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Adrienne Irmer. Not only do I have the distinct pleasure of being the daughter of Perri Irmer, my shiro, who is the president and CEO here at the DuSable Black
Okay.
History Museum and Education Center. I am co-founder of Pride Southside,
Okay.
and we are being hosted at the DuSable Museum on Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's this Saturday.
It is this Saturday,
And-
July 5th. Mhm.
Okay, and every year does this Pride Southside Pride take?
So we were founded in 2019. It started as an idea in 2018. And my cousin called me one day after an incident happened up north after the Pride Parade at one of the bars on the north side. And some folks who look like us, who are queer and have every right to be celebrating their pride, were unceremoniously removed from a bar. And we were like, you know what? We need something that's going to be culturally relevant
Okay.
and safe for BIPOC queer folks, so that they have an additional opportunity to celebrate their pride in a way that won't put them at the risk of being put out of a bar unceremoniously.
Okay.
And that's the diplomatic way of saying it.
Okay.
And that's how Pride Southside was born,
All
out,
right.
out of a radical love for our community and the need for a space that's ours.
All right. Now we have another host or guest joining us today. And introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Danny Dunson, and I'm the Director of Curatorial Services and Community Partnerships here at the DuSable Museum.
Okay, so tell me about the DuSable Museum.
Well, the DuSable Museum, the DuSable Black History Museum and Education Center, that is a more recent iteration of our name that changed in 2022 to include the global diaspora, as well as extend our reach and our impact, as well as substantiate our mission of education, which is something that was always the case from the time of founding. So education is very important to everything we do, every exhibition, every program. And, you know, I'm just listening to Adrienne speak about the Pride Southside program. It's really important to know that this is a cultural, social justice movement that educates and informs and also elevates communities that are lacking representation, and from the grassroots to many other levels within the community, everyone comes together in a safe space. So we're very honored here at this museum to host this.
Okay, so just to let our audience know, DuSable Museum is by the University of Chicago, so you may hear some sirens going by in the background. So we're at the University of Chicago. It's not too far away from the campus. Literally, it's right across the street. So going back to the event that's happening this Saturday. So tell me more about it.
Yeah, so every year, in preparation for the upcoming festival, we sit down and talk through some of the things and the issues that are most pressing to the queer community, but then also to Black and Brown folk, Indigenous folk, and mold a theme for each year's festival based on that. So last year was an election year, and our theme was Right to Pride. So
Okay.
we did activations around voter education, voter registration, and essentially using your voice at the ballot to protect your right to pride, right? So this year, we went back and forth. Obviously, the election didn't turn out in favor of this particular community. We'll
Yes.
just say that.
We'll say that. We'll keep it at that. We don't want to go too much into politics.
No.
I understand.
Yeah, and so this year we chose all American Pride.
Okay.
Not all American like Varsity Blues, but all American Pride. So essentially what we want to do is call our community to reflect on what patriotism even is.
Okay.
What being American even feels like.
Right.
What where this land that we call America even came from. Stolen land from our indigenous ancestors, right? And to push back against a narrative that is being weaponized against our community. You don't belong here.
Right.
You're not American.
Yeah.
Well, according to my U.S. passport, sir,
Right.
you will not weaponize Americanness
Yeah.
and the notion of being a citizen in this country, regardless of documentation, at least in our America, against us.
You know what's interesting is I travel all over the world, this globe, and I realize that when someone asks, where are you from? Obviously, I say Chicago.
Right.
I mean, who doesn't want to say they're from Chicago?
Right.
But then they get deeper and it says, well, no, where's your history? And I says, oh, I'm American. It's interesting because when other people say that, they don't say they're American. They say, oh, I'm Irish, or I'm South African, or I'm Colombian, and it's just, or I'm Venezuelan. And it's just kind of like saying, okay, you're using your family's, your grandmother's history or your grandfather's history. And it's just like, no, your mom was born here. Your dad was born here. You were born here. So why not just say American?
Yeah. So I think that speaks to the beauty of our partnership with the DuSable, is that we are descendants of stolen peoples. Most of us cannot trace our lineage back before in the time of enslavement.
Right, exactly.
So, you stole us, you brought us here, and now you're trying to weaponize Americanness against us on a country we built with our ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh, yeah.
So in part, the theme is a reclamation of that and the ownership of that, and not allowing somebody to take that away from you.
Okay.
But in what I've been saying is that Pride Southside is our corner of America.
Yeah.
And in our America, everyone belongs here.
Okay.
Whether regardless of documentation, your disability status, if you live, work, and play in this land we now call America, you are American to us.
All right.
And we think that is then a catalyst talking point to get folks into the museum to learn more about their history so that they can say, okay, well, we got curious. We did one of the DNA tests, and now I know that my ancestors were stolen from Cameroon, which is where my ancestors were stolen from. Or is it Ghana? Or is it parts of Nigeria? And being in such proximity to all of our rich, sometimes very painful history, we'll start that interrogation internally so folks can start to claim their ancestral roots, but then also claim their space in this country that we now call America.
Okay. So Danny, tell me some of the exhibits you worked on. I thought I was here a couple years ago, last year, but as we were talking through our break, we were talking about the color.
The Color Is.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Nick Cave, Jack Cave Presents The Color Is, which was a fashion exhibition celebrating the fashion works of brothers Nick Cave and Jack Cave, who are these amazing artists based here in Chicago, originally from the St. Louis, Kansas City area. And they've been here for many years. And Nick Cave is a world-renowned artist, and he has started off as a fashion designer, and so did his brother. and they decided during the pandemic to start to reflect on their roots as fashion designers,
Okay.
and they created this capsule exhibition to go alongside Nick's major retrospective that was going on at the MCA and would later be shown at New York's Guggenheim Museum. And we had the tremendous opportunity to present his fashion collection
Yeah.
for about 4 months here in our Roundhouse. And it was the first project I curated with the DuSable coming on as the curator here and working with those two members of this particular community that we're highlighting today, and how
Right.
proud they were. The closing exhibition event was, for the first time, the museum created a ball that invited the ballroom community of the Black LGBTQIA
Okay.
community, and we dedicated the entire ball to the art of Nick Cave and Jack Cave. So the categories were edifying their art, and we had it at the Roundhouse while the exhibition was up, and it was fantastic. And it was really great because
was.
a lot of people had not been to the museum before, and these were adults, grown
Right.
adults who had not, and they said they lived a couple of blocks away.
Yeah.
And they had because no one said you're not welcome here. No
Right.
one maybe treated them like they were not welcome, but there's this idea that a mainstream space, a traditional space, may not be the best for me. So a lot of times we learn to police ourselves before
Yeah.
anyone puts any type of rule against us. So that's why this particular event's so important. We are first saying you are welcome here. You don't have to ask if you're welcome. You don't have to ask, is this a safe space? We are letting you know first. That's our due diligence.
Yeah.
We can to try to erase some of that people have had to do of many designations from race, class, gender, sex, sexuality, all of those things, where we tend to govern ourselves before even anyone puts governance on us. So the museum is really, really proud to do these types of initiatives.
You know what's interesting is when I came to the Color Festival, I'm
The
pronouncing
Color
it,
Is.
the Color Is.
Yeah.
I actually brought 3 other friends with me, and we're all diverse in our race. One was white, one was I'm black, and then the other one was Hispanic, and the other one was German. And it was interesting because as we were walking around, you see all walks of life at this museum. And it's not just black or not just minority, it's always a mixed, diverse group of people. So going back to the Southside Pride, what events you got going on this weekend?
Yeah, so the festival kicks off at about 12:30 p.m.
Okay.
We shortened our hours this year, mainly because we know our community, and a festival on a Saturday that starts at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. is too early if you went out on Friday night.
That is correct. I am one of those people. I admit I don't. I go out on Friday night. I'm not getting up at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Listen. So yeah, we'll be kicking off, opening the doors at about 12:30 p.m. Although if you come at noon, we're not gonna make you wait.
Okay.
Our DJs will start spinning at noon so that the
okay.
music can help bring foot traffic towards the festivals. Start getting the staff who've been there since 9 a.m.
Right.
in the mood.
Yeah.
And we will have roughly 30 vendors
Okay.
of different kinds. So whether you want to buy some clothes or some Pride swag, or come and get some free swag from some of our companies and nonprofits that are there, so folks can learn about the resources that exist. You'll be able to get your blood pressure checked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
That is the silent killer, and
Oh,
so
yes,
we want to
it
make
is.
sure that our community is aware that regular blood pressure checks are important. We will have legal aid resources and Lambda Legal resource there. The Human Rights Campaign, Equality Illinois will be in the house. And then we'll have all the fun stuff.
Okay.
We do have a bar, a cashless bar.
Okay, I got one question. Is there
Yeah.
going to be food?
And we'll have about at least 3 food trucks, maybe 4.
I'm here. I'm here.
So we'll have some soul food. We'll have some. We got obviously a Chicago classic is Harold's Chicken. They have been at every one of our in-person festivals,
Yes.
and And every year they come, they're like, we never sell out of food.
Well, you know what's interesting? My
They
sister,
sell out with us.
my sister, we used to have a Harold's Chicken in our neighborhood. And it was interesting because I wasn't a big chicken fan when I was growing up. Was not a fan. You could give me a hot dog, a hamburger, I'm there. But chicken, I was not a big chicken fan. So all of a sudden, probably when I was like maybe 16, 17 years old, I was just hungry and I came in from sports and all I saw was Harold's Chicken on the counter. So I took a bite. And I was like, I kept eating it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the next day, I'm going to Harold's. The next day after that, I'm going to Harold's. So I'm a big Harold's fan now. It took me 16 years to get there.
You know, it's something in the mild sauce. I'm sure it's not crack,
Right.
but it's crack adjacent.
Yes, yes.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So definitely. So what time does it end?
So we have something very special planned this year. So we'll have DJs spinning until about 4:30.
Okay.
And then we'll start our live musical performances. So we'll have vocalists, we'll have lyricists, we'll have spoken word artists.
Okay.
All sourced Chicago talent. So we went
Okay.
back to our roots. Our first year was all Chicago talent. As we grew, we were able to, what's it called? Be flued out. Bring some talent in from across the country. But given the challenges faced by our communities and public health institutions due to cuts out of Washington, D.C.,
Right.
we had to pare back our budget and go back to our roots and really pour into and invest in the talent that we have locally. So you will see all Chicago artists like Just Logan, Raina, Vicky Street,
Okay.
Mikey Everything.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all on our website. There's Zion Ali, too many to name. Like I got so much in my
Yeah.
head, I can't memorize every single one of them. But they're all going to be fabulous. And at the end, we have a very special finale at around 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And without spoiling too much, it will involve the audience will be engaged and part of that activation.
Okay.
And then we'll have a DJ close us out, and we'll end about 9 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Danny, I wanted to ask you about community activism in the DuSable community in this area. Do you see a lot of, and it may be going back to our previous, how does the community feel about, or do you get a lot of contributions? Do the community come in? I know you have a kids program. I've seen kids here. So can you go a little bit or elaborate more on that?
Yes, the DuSable Museum is nothing without the community that surrounds it, that supports it, that it tries its best to serve. We are a community service organization. We are a social justice organization, all within the idea of being a museum and education center.
Right.
So we have different programs. We have summer camp.
Okay.
We have After School Matters. That's in session now throughout the summertime. We have a lot of educational programming, things like our Juneteenth celebration, which engages the community all day on Juneteenth, free of cost. We have our Do Summer program, which is our jazz and different entertainers who are local, who you can come and be a part of this free of cost this year.
Okay.
Dr. Kim Delaney, who's our VP of Education, does a myriad of programming throughout the year that engages people on all ages. So we just had an elder circle. We've done quilting. We've done
Really?
we do everything all year long, every month, and we engage the community. So everything we do thinks of the community, and we do have a diverse viewership and attendees who come from different all walks of life, because Black history is everyone's history.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
is by us, but it's for everyone.
Yeah.
It's from us, but it's for everyone to learn about. So it's really great.
When people started doing their DNA testing, they realized, oh, I'm not really 100% this.
That's right.
And all of son is just like
That great-great-grandmother
Yeah.
wasn't just tanned. She was a little dark-skinned for a
Exactly.
reason. Yeah, absolutely. And those things, you know, it really gives a sense of pride and a
Right.
sense of greater understanding through education. A lot of people act out of ignorance when they're acting in racism and homophobia and sexism. And one of the ways to help to rectify some of that is educating.
Okay.
So people make a choice based on something different than what they may have been learned or taught throughout
Yeah.
the years. Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of wrap this up. So we have a couple more questions. Tell me what piece of advice you would give to someone that was passed down from your mother, father, or from yourself.
You know, this is something that I always call back to, and that I've even put it in applications to like leadership programs. Is that my mommy always taught me that in life, people will try and may be successful in taking a lot of things from you, but what they can never take from you is your education.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. So 3 questions. Heels or gym shoes?
Oh, gym shoes all day. All
hair,
day.
Hair up or down?
Well, my hair is short, so it's always up. Okay. Or maybe down. I don't know. Depends on how much product I use. It can be up, or just like sitting there.
All right. You're going to hit the gas or you're going to hit the brakes?
Ooh. Because we're coming up on the festival, dame la gasolina.
All right, Danny, your turn.
Okay, repeat the question again.
So there's several different questions.
All
So,
right.
so here you go. So tell me what piece of advice that someone gave to you growing up that you live by today. It could be your mother, father, grandma, grandpa, or self.
Yeah, there's a lot of advice, but something that stands out is the idea of if you have to put someone down so that you feel better, then that's not the way to go about it.
Okay.
Definitely, you know, focus on yourself and giving a hand instead of pushing someone off a cliff. So
Okay.
I think it's just this idea of service.
Speaking of cliffs,
Okay. All right. Yeah, okay.
hiking or driving?
Driving.
Our audience, his eyes lit up when I asked that question. Harold's Chicken or Shake Shack?
I would do Harold's first.
Okay. Gym shoes or dress shoes?
Now, dress shoe with a heel.
Okay.
I mean, you asked.
I asked. That was it.
I mean, you know,
right.
yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Right. So we're going to wrap this up. This is Will Knight, All About Nothing, and just repeat our guest again.
Adrian Irmer, co-founder Pride Southside.
And
Danny Dunson, Director of Curatorial Services and Community Partnerships for the DuSable Black History Museum and Education Center.
sound good. And we're going to wrap this up. Thank you very much. And we'll talk back with you guys later. And this is Will Knight of All About Nothing.